Hello, my name is Thad Malling, and I'm the Associate Director for Departmental Support within DoIT, and I've been here at UW-Madison for a little bit over a year now. It's been really a fun place to come. I love just the way everybody here on campus likes to collaborate, work together, and look for solutions to problems that everybody has and everybody is facing right now. So it's been really enjoyable.
Hello, my name is Sean Thiele, and I'm a Unified Communications Engineer at DoIT Network Services. My primary role in the hybrid conferencing technology project that we are implementing on campus has been to actually add the room devices into our WebEx Control Hub, which is an existing service that we're offering on campus.
I'm Brad Graham, and I joined the staff of DoIT in the fall of 2021 when we started to put together a program where we could offer kind of a unified system for hybrid conferencing throughout the campus for our different customers. And we're basing that on a Cisco hardware system that can be scalable depending on the size of the room, but all the different sizes of the rooms can be controlled by the same touchscreen interface.
Hi, I'm Bill Tischler. I'm an instructional media producer here on the UW-Madison campus. For years, I've been developing distance education courses that were broadcast both on television and offered to students online. I became involved with this hybrid project early in spring 2020 when the outbreak of COVID-19 caused our campus to cancel in-person instruction. At the time, I was working on several new courses in our recording studio, so when the COVID restrictions went into effect, I had to adapt the studio to make it safe for recording individuals on camera when they were not wearing a mask. I worked with Sean Thiele to set up some older hybrid Cisco technology in the studio, and then we connected it to adjacent conference rooms in our building where additional production staff who were wearing masks could monitor the recording and run the equipment remotely. Now, in addition to using WebEx, we also started using Zoom and later Microsoft Teams to bring in people who are working remote at home to conduct interviews with the on-camera talent that were here in the studio.
So I want to say a little bit something about the project team that we've put together, and it's been a really fun team to work with. There's a lot of different aspects to providing a service like this. There's technology, there's knowing people, there's communication, there's being able to work with outside vendors and technology partners. The team that we have is great. So really, the core of it sort of started with Bill Tischler and Sean Thiele. Sean is the back-end administrator for the voice systems and for the WebEx room system. So he's got all this really great technical knowledge and ability to manage these systems. Bill has been outstanding with just knowing the community, knowing the campus, knowing all these people, getting requests, knowing who to talk to. And he's really been able to bridge that gap between folks that know technology and the people that are looking for a solution to solve a problem. So it's been awesome to have Bill and Sean being really the core of that team. Then when I showed up last year, I had experience in my previous working career, really working with enterprise infrastructure for a global company, and there was a lot of data center and networking and voice and those types of things. So I had that technology background, being able to just communicate things to folks in a way that maybe made sense from a business perspective versus a technical perspective. And then I was joined by one of my former colleagues, Brad Graham, who had tons of experience implementing this exact type of solution, different platform, but the same concept at the company that he and I worked at together. And Brad has great experience working with end users, understanding what they're looking for, what they need, how they work. And he's very good with working with technology partners, contractors, subcontractors to make all these things come together. So it's been a really effective, fun team to work with, where each person that is on this team, each of the four of us, have brought something to the table that on its own isn't going to work very well, but when you put those four things together, it's been working really effectively. And that's been a blast.
One of the things I really enjoy is meeting with the different customers around campus and different departments and divisions, finding out how they use their meeting spaces, what their meeting culture is like. That helps us to design a meeting experience for them that's easy to use, straightforward, intuitive, and cuts down on the meeting setup time so that when people have a 9 o'clock meeting, they can roll into that room a minute before, touch a button, and they're in the meeting. They don't have to set up a lot of cables and cameras and various devices.
Some of the features that are part of these video endpoints include a one button to push join option, which makes for a seamless joining experience. The way this works is there's a resource calendar that is created and assigned to the video endpoint. The end user will then choose their choice of video conferencing platform and schedule the resource calendar. And 5 minutes prior to the meeting start, a notification will actually appear on the Touch 10 or Navigator device, allowing for the end user to hit the join button for that meeting and instantly be placed into the conference. Again, this makes for a very seamless joining experience, and those users that are potentially running late to meetings can instantly walk into the conference room knowing that they are able to join the conference without any issues.
Because I work with video and audio equipment, I'm oftentimes the one that everyone at Continuing Studies seems to call when they either need to host a very important video conference or if something goes wrong in one of our conference rooms. Now, before we started installing the new Cisco hybrid meeting room technology in our conference rooms at 21 North Park, we had dedicated desktop computers set up in each of our conference rooms with USB webcams and microphones. Although this solution did work, it did present a few issues because people would often forget to log out of programs. Software updates were not always done on a regular schedule. I would say that most of the problems I was being called in to troubleshoot were the result of people changing settings in Windows, cables and cords being unplugged, or batteries not being charged on wireless devices. Now, this is kind of minor stuff, but when you start to add all these things up, it becomes a pretty time-consuming process, especially when you have conference rooms that are spread across 3 buildings on campus. Now, since we installed this new hybrid technology in our conference rooms over 2 years ago, I've never had to worry about the equipment or doing any updates because from an end user's perspective, like mine, it's maintenance free.
But as DoIT has developed these systems, we've put up some web pages with more information about how the systems are set up and used, and we also have a request form where customers can inquire if they have rooms that they'd like us to look at.
And all of a sudden, we're getting contacted by folks all around campus with the same request. Hey, we're going into this hybrid work model, and we need a way to have hybrid meetings, and our meeting rooms just aren't set up the way they need to be. The requests just kept coming and coming. So it was evident pretty quickly that this isn't something that is needed for a department. It's not something specifically needed for DoIT. This is a need that's really all around campus.
Some of the benefits of having these devices on our network include allowing, if there's any issues with any of the endpoints, we are automatically alerted if something is wrong. For example, say the Touch 10 is removed from the endpoint and the customer doesn't actually know what's going on. I will get alerted instantly saying that the device has been disconnected. Another example includes sound issues. Say the TV speakers are extremely loud for the microphones that are built into the room kit. I will be notified instantly when the microphones are being overloaded by the speaker from the television.
So in each meeting room, we have developed a 2-page laminated sheet that goes through all the steps that you would take to join a meeting and the meeting controls that you would use once you're in the meeting. So we start off with talking about the hardware itself, which is usually takes the form of a sound bar in the front of the room under the television. That can scale depending on the size of the room, might look different. And the tablet that controls all of the meeting functions. So we have instructions for joining a Teams meeting, Zoom meeting, WebEx meeting. The Cisco system we're deploying now, it seems to be the best of both worlds, where we have access to all the different platforms on one device, and the experience that you have in the meeting is pretty much the same across all the different platforms. So no matter whether you prefer Teams, Zoom, or WebEx, you can have the same kind of meeting experience when you enter the room.
Some of the things that I do to allow for this is creating macros onto the Touch 10 or the Navigator device, which is the unit that allows for people to interact with the endpoint. This is done by creating scripts that once you press the button, it'll run through the script and essentially dials the SIP address of the video conferencing of your choice. So this includes WebEx, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meet currently. I also add these devices into our WebEx Control Hub, where they are centrally managed. The reason we do this is because of our existing contract that we have with Cisco. It allows for automatic firmware upgrades, which basically eliminates the need for administrators on campus to make sure that these devices are getting the security patches, the new features that are becoming available from Cisco to be able to operate these video conferencing meetings on campus.
So we put that together and came up with some really functional rooms that worked. We worked with we worked with Cisco as well on getting some accessibility features built in, and then we rolled out a service. That service was intended really just to help the broader campus community with a solution. There's never an intention of that service to say, hey, here we are, we're going to come in and we're going to take over your AV, we're going to modify your meeting rooms and do this, do things that you might not want. We simply want to be there as a resource for anybody on campus, that if they have a need and they would like us to look at that need and help them through designing a room, putting the things in place, we will do that. There's tons of people on campus that understand this type of technology. They've got solutions in their rooms that have been working for them, and that's awesome. That's great, and we'll help anybody with questions they might have on those as well. We just wanted something that would be a standard that could be supported throughout the whole community, something that a large number of people would understand. Cisco is a very prominent name in technology. Something that would be very supportable, that would have a long lifespan, a solution that is versatile, something that could be modified to accommodate new technologies that come in, and Cisco just really fit that bill really well.
Having these devices on our network essentially makes it a lot stress-free, I would say, because I don't have to worry about if these devices are having issues, because everything's managed within the WebEx Control Hub, where I can, again, have automatic updates pushed out to these devices. If there's issues with a specific firmware, I can actually roll back and push them out right away, or even security vulnerabilities. It just makes it for a very great experience from an administrator's standpoint.
I guess what I'm most impressed with is the quality of the sound, especially the microphones. It's not easy to mic an entire room full of people. And I think this technology really does a good job of identifying who is speaking in the room, and then using the speaker tracking function, the system will cut back and forth to whoever is talking in the room. Now, you can also turn off the speaking tracking function and use the touchpad to pan, tilt, and zoom the camera in and out during meetings. You know, what this means for someone like me is that I'm basically out of a job. I never get invited to meetings anymore just to sit there and operate the video cameras and the audio equipment anymore. Now, you know, which is actually a good thing, because this equipment is become very simple to use, so much that almost anybody can use it.
Sometimes it's not necessarily the specific technology that's going into a room when you're looking at planning long-term out. It's about designing things in a way that is going to accommodate technology current, and then when we look to future technology, things we know are coming on the roadmap from these companies, how can these rooms be designed to accommodate future technologies? Kind of, you know, future-proofing is probably a tough word, but sort of future-proofing some of these rooms so that it's not going to require a lot of remodeling to put new things in the future.
And as we get requests from our customers to set up these hybrid rooms, we will visit the room, find out how it's being used, and look at the experience that the people in the room, as well as the remote participants, are looking for. Then we can start looking at maybe the type of screen that we use, the size of the TV. A larger room might need a ceiling microphone or a table microphone. So basically it can scale from a small room with just the sound bar and the touch panel to a larger room or even very large room with different microphone, speaker, and camera configurations. Our first major projects were in Bascom Hall, where we set up several of the rooms there with the Cisco systems, from small huddle spaces to the largest room, meeting room 260, where there was a much larger system with ceiling microphones and speakers, assisted listening devices, but again, it has the same control system that you'd find in the smallest huddle room. So DoIT is working with some outside vendors to help design and install these systems. Once the hardware is in the room, there's not a lot of maintenance that needs to be done by people who use the room. The systems are left on and are always ready to use, and DoIT is monitoring everything in the background as far as whether the camera is connected, whether the touch panel is working, and we can also do some troubleshooting remotely if there's any issues.
There's also some device reports that I can see, and these reports allow for me to see how much usage is being done from the devices. So, for example, if one of the devices isn't getting used as much, I can at least go back to those customers and say, hey, what's going on? Are you not satisfied with the product? Are you just not sure how to use the product? So then that way we have a good communication with the customer to understand their needs a little bit better and get it maybe customized a little bit better for them. some of these customizations include turning on the noise removal on the endpoint. The noise removal is a very great feature for maybe some of those loud conference rooms that have HVAC systems that are just constantly blowing. The automatic noise removal will cut that annoying sound from the conference meeting and not distract any of the end users in that meeting.
I recently gave a training session to several administrative people in the Bascom building for a large space we set up for them, room 260, and it's just great to be able to see how people react to how the technology is used and find out what kind of questions they have. I'm Brad from DoIT Departmental Support, and I started here in September, and kind of my main focus is to deploy room systems like this around the campus on behalf of DoIT. In most rooms, they're going to have a sound bar like this. It's going to usually be smaller. This is the Codec Plus, it's called. Then there's the room kit that's yay big, and then the mini that's a little smaller. In most rooms, so this has the cameras, and in this room it's a fancy quad cam. They're all going to be able to track who's talking. So if somebody over there starts talking, the camera will follow them. As I was saying, in most rooms, this contains the speakers, the microphones, and the camera. It's all self-contained. And when we go up to a bigger room, we might get different cameras. But for the audio, the speakers are right up above you. There's 8 speakers. And then the smaller round tiles are the microphones. So there's 6 microphones, 8 speakers. All the audio is happening in the ceiling. This system is controlled by the navigator. So in older rooms, it might be called something else, like a Touch 10, but this is the latest and greatest. I'm thinking it's going to live over here on the cabinet. And then since tables kind of get moved around, we're gonna bring it out here. So whoever's driving the meeting would probably sit here.
Brad, do we have to have the room added to the meeting invite?
Good question. So that's going to be the easiest thing.
Okay.
So if you're booking a meeting that has Teams, Zoom, or WebEx, and it's in this room, invite the room, make that the location. That's going to give you that join button. You can come in here and join with one touch.
Is it the same resource we've been using? Or
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Same calendar, everything.
So you guys, that's a kind of a change from how we've always reserved the rooms, just FYI. So we'll start adding them.
And other rooms in campus, they might not be on Outlook, they might not have a calendar at all. So not everybody's going to have the one-touch join that we have here. Thad is on a call right now, and so is Sean Thiele. And we're going to connect with some actual people out in the world. So, another thing to note, there's going to be cases where somebody's going to want to join this WebEx meeting. Hi, Sean and Thad. Can you hear us?
We can.
Okay.
We can.
I have 5 different choices of layouts, and this can vary on who's speaking and if it's recognizing them, or if they are sharing content. So Thad, if you have any safe for work content that you could share with us,
I'm sure I can do that.
I'll show how the layout works with that.
You should see a Visio diagram.
Oh, very nice. So now that we have some cameras going on and some content going on, we can try different layouts just to see what might work best. Overlay is my favorite, just because you have the full screen and you can still see the camera, but obviously it's not going to work for every kind of content. And then prominent, okay, I thought prominent would maybe focus. So focus is giving me the full screen of Thad's beautiful PDF. Thanks for coming, everyone. Happy Friday and have a great weekend.
Bye.
This about concludes our session. I want to end by saying that while some departments may only require a single hybrid meeting room, others are looking to equip multiple locations to not only connect remote workers, but also connect with campus colleagues working at different ends of our vast 938-acre campus. I've been on campus for several decades, and I can safely say that it's difficult, if not impossible, to get from one end of our campus to the other, especially during those times when students are moving between class periods. Now, as we learn, these hybrid meeting rooms can not only connect with major video conferencing platforms, but you can also call multiple hybrid meeting rooms directly, just like you would with an ordinary telephone.
With the way the technology is set up in these rooms, we've had remote attendees tell us that it's a better experience for them. They feel almost as if they're in the room. They can see and hear better than they could with previous systems, and it just seems to foster better communication than with some of the older technology that I've seen in a lot of the rooms around campus.
Another great feature is these devices can tie into our existing VoIP infrastructure by assigning a DID to or a PSTN number to the device. So you can use existing VoIP numbers that you've already acquired from network applications. Again, this allows for you to use the device just to call anyone on campus, off campus, which is an amazing feature. Again, because this is utilizing our existing VoIP infrastructure.
Just having that ability to have some kind of standards all around campus so that users and students and whoever can go from room to room, from building to building, and have a similar user experience. Have something that works really well for them with just touching a button, not having to bring their own equipment into a room to have a meeting. Those are things that I think we're accomplishing, and as technology changes and we work with these vendors and we're able to incorporate more accessibility features and functions into these solutions, it's really an exciting place to be right now, and we're so excited to be able to help the university and help all of these customers around campus accomplish these things. It's a lot of fun, and I just thank everybody for allowing us to be involved in helping you.